time isn't passing. There's a story that's flowing through you in the eternal now. It looks like time is passing because I just came from there and I remember the journey here. But I remember it in the now. So then I could project forward and I'm going to be up there in a moment. But that's happening in the now. That projection is only happening in the now. And if I get to that place that I projected myself to, if I get to that place, it's in the now. It looks like that I'll be there in the future, but I won't be there in the future. I'll be there in the now. Right now I'm walking. In the now, I'm walking. The story, the narrative, the environment is it's coming through you. But you are eternal, eternally present. You're not moving. You're not moving through time or space, because that's all an illusion. This is just a story that's passing through you, through your eternal presentness. See, now I'm at the location that I said I was going to be at. But it's not in the future, it's now. See, that I'm here now. See? What I said to you in the past is an illusion, it's a memory. But you can't go there. You can't go to that time, because that time doesn't exist. Time doesn't exist. Because you're remembering what I said now. Now, eternally now, always now, present. There's nothing before or after the now, the presentness of this being here now. Because there's no, everything is happening now. Your concepts of the past and the future is all happening right here, now. The world is traveling through you. The story is traveling through you. You are not traveling through the story or the space or time. It's happening through you. It's being perceived in the present. That's it. Boggling, isn't it? So I'm back in the bog again. And the turf is starting to dry. You can see here. Let's clip you in here. I like to hold the mic, but sometimes you just gotta clip it in. Well, that's the turf, it's starting to dry. You can pick it up. Still a bit soft. But that's drying up nicely. Some of it is a bit drier. This is almost dry enough to burn, this. Nice and solid. Just like my head. But yeah. And then they're going to stack this up into little, what they call footings, which we'll see in a moment over here. I'll flip the camera around so you can get a nice view. Here we go. These are little footings, different styles. This is kind of like a wigwam style, but this is usually how they start off, with this kind of pattern or structure here. Loads of them, little ones. The drier they get, the higher they stack them. So they'll come back in a week or two if it's been dry and stack them up higher. Usually go for this style, but make them bigger and bigger and bigger. And then when they're really dry, they'll be one big pile ready for collection with the tractor and trailer. and back home into the shed. So you can see the different styles of footings here. So you got these square box styles, and then you get the more kind of wigwam style over here. Yeah, very interesting, and they have yet to stack up these ones or make these into footings, but they are drying quite nicely. Really nice. Nice and cozy for the winter for these people. True success is not about doing or achieving, because time is an illusion. The accumulation of time and the projection of time in the future is an illusion. True success is in the being. What are you being right now? Are you successfully being who you want to be? That's true success. It's in the being. Because there's no moment, there's no time progression. That's an illusion. That's just a belief. The past is a belief. You can't go to the past. You can't look on the past and say, oh, this is where I had my success. Success is now. It's in beingness. It's what are you being now? What do you know now about yourself? Because you're here to know yourself, to know thyself. That's true success. And that is right now, the eternal now, which can't be ever pinpointed or held down. The only time travel that you can do is in your imagination. If you don't embody the version of you that is successful now, you will never embody the version of you that is successful. You will never be successful if you don't choose it now. Because you can only do any action, have any thought, any memory, can only be held in the now. If you're holding on to resentment towards someone because they did something or they said something to you, they crossed your boundary in the perceived past, and that's what you're holding on to right in this now, right now, then what you are saying to yourself is, I am a victim. I identify as a victim. That's what you're saying to yourself. Holding on to resentment is identifying as a victim. Because right now, in this moment, are you under attack? Most likely, if you're watching this video, then no, you're not. You're not, are you? You're not a victim right now. You're not. You're not under attack. So, you're holding on to an illusionary past reality in the now, because you cannot go back to the past, because there is no past. The past doesn't exist. There's only now. So now you're imagining that you're a victim, but you're not a victim. You're just deluding yourself. It's delusional. Think about animals. They don't hold on to past. You know, if there's danger, they react, they run, they hide, they defend themselves. And as soon as the threat is gone, they let it go, the present, in the present. Because there's no future, there's no past. If you're anxious about the future, which is most probably you're anxious about an illusionary past repeating itself in the future. But neither of those exist. The future does not exist because you can never get to the future because you're always in the eternal now, the present. And you can never get to the past. You cannot. All you have of the past is memories. And you have to remember in the now. So there's only the now. So even in the now, your perception of what your memory is based on how you feel right now, this moment. So even your past is malleable. You can change it depending on how you feel about yourself right now in this moment, because there's only this moment, this right now. There's no passing of time. That's an illusion. It looks like there's a passing of time, but your whole reality is just morphing to you in this eternal presentness. There is no linear passing of time. Once you understand that, you can live in the now completely. You are not under threat. You have everything you need. If you desire something that you don't have, you don't need it. You're gaslighting yourself into thinking that you need it. You're not a victim. If you identify as a victim, then that is what you're going to experience. You're never going to have success if you identify as a victim, because every energy that you hold is always held right now. So whatever you were embodying in the present is what you will experience, period. You have to be here now, because there's only here now. You got to be your best friend here now, because there's no one else here for you but you. Every interaction with the world around you is a reflection of how you show up for yourself. So understanding this is the path to true success, which is being in the present. To be, because you are the present. You are eternally in the now, which means you can't be anywhere else. You can't be in the past or the future, because it never existed. It can't exist. Only the now can exist. And you access all of those ideas from the now, always from the now. So, who do you choose to be? Now. Choose consciously. Invest wisely. Weak people believe that taking accountability is dangerous. They believe that taking accountability is a sign of weakness. Their whole perception, the victim's perception of reality, is inverted. Because strong people, powerful people, they take responsibility. They own up to their mistakes. They own their shit. That's power. That's confidence. That's authentic. That's taking responsibility for yourself. That means that that person is on an upward trajectory in their life, because they're always analyzing themselves, their behavior, and taking responsibility for their darkness. Owning it. That's powerful. There is no denying it. If I identified with a victim, I would be scared of taking responsibility. I would avoid taking responsibility. I would avoid being accountable. I would be triggered every time someone calls me out on my bullshit. And I would be laying down arbitrary boundaries to ensure that they don't expose me. Because I'm the victim here. I'm the victim. You're the abusive one for trying to call me out. No. That's my boundary. No, you don't get to call me out. That's my boundary. That's the victim. That's what the victim does. The victim says, oh, your reaction. No, you're responsible because you reacted that way. Okay. The victim loves to blame shift. The victim loves to weaponize your response, your reaction. You're not playing by the rules, so you don't get to call me out for my reaction. Well, you're not playing by the rules. You're invading my space, my territory, like a pirate. And you cry victim because of my response, my reaction. Talk about double standards. No rules for me, and these rules for you. No, yeah, yeah. When you call them out on their bullshit, they don't like it. They don't like it. I wouldn't advise anyone to identify as a victim, because that is true weakness. That is true weakness. That is giving up on yourself. If you give up on yourself, then the people who once loved you will eventually give up on you. Because if you give up on yourself, you're going to take that out on the people that love you. And eventually, if they have any self-respect and self-love, they will have to walk away from you. Because that level of toxicity will destroy anyone that remains, in that bubble. So you don't want to be a victim. That's like the worst choice in your whole life, is to choose victimhood. Because that gets bigger, that grows, until there's no going back, because there'll be too much shame. Because what happens with victimhood, it creates shame, because there's a part of you deep down that knows you're doing the wrong thing, you're taking the wrong position in life. And that shame builds up from that, because you've projected that onto everyone. And the more shame you have, the more you project it onto other people around you, if there's anyone left in your life. And most of us have to learn this, because early in life, when you're like when you're a child and when you're a teenager, we're basically little narcissists, little victims, Oh, woe is me. The world is such a horrible place, and my parents are mean to me, and they don't understand me, and everything is just against me. It's all wrong. I feel wrong. I feel wrong inside. I feel like such a victim, Unfortunately, a lot of people don't grow out of that phase. There's a lot of grown adults, well, basically teenagers in adults' bodies, going around angry at the world, angry at their partners, angry at their family. They don't want to take responsibility for it, because they want to continue to be the victim, because they have no emotional intelligence and they don't want to develop it. Because if they had to develop it, they would have to take responsibility. They would have to own up to their shit, their abusive behavior, when they get triggered and they start projecting all of their insecurities onto the nearest and dearest to them, their partners, their family members, friends, colleagues. They can't face the shame of having to take responsibility for that. So they go deeper into that darkness. So if you have any of this victim mentality in you, you want to nip that in the bud fairly soon in your life, because once you're more identified with the victim than anything else, it's almost impossible to get out of that. It's malignant. It's like a cancer. It's just going to completely consume you. I've seen it happen. So many people. That's the biggest threat to humanity, is victimhood. Everything that's happening in the world, all this destructive behavior that's happening, is coming from the same abandonment wound, which is identifying as a victim. You're not a child anymore. You're in control. You're responsible for yourself. Nobody else is to blame for who you are today. You can't blame it on your past. The past does not exist. There's only the present now. So what you're identifying in the present now is what you are and what you become. But there's no becoming, because you are what you identify as right now. Because there's no past, there's no future. If you look on the future, you're doing it from the now. If you look on the past, you're doing it from the now. You can't do it from any other perspective. You're here now. So who are you now? If you're a victim now, if you're holding on to resentment, you're a victim. But if you know that you are the creator of your existence, you decide who you are, then you're not a victim. You're on the route to success, because you have to claim your success now. You have to embody the version of you that you want to be. Now, if you're preoccupied with being a victim, that's what you're going to be. That's what you're going to perpetually recycle. You're going to be that. And it's going to get bigger, it's going to grow exponentially. So choose wisely. You're not under attack. Everything is you, right now. You know, I had to learn this myself. I had to go through this. I had three really serious relationships in my life. And the second one was a real challenge for me. That lasted about 9 years. And I have to admit, I identified as a victim. And my partner identified as a victim. And we were mirroring each other. There was a lot of abandonment wounds being projected in that relationship. But that relationship in particular forced me to see my own darkness, forced me to grow, forced me to take responsibility for myself. And when I finally took responsibility for myself, when I claimed responsibility for myself, I had to remove myself from that situation, because then the lesson was learned. It no longer served me or her to stay in that relationship. But the point is, I'm not on my high horse. I've been there. I've been in the trenches. I've been the victim. Oh, woe is me. I've been there, so I'm speaking from experience. I've been the narcissist, but then I woke up and started to take responsibility for myself, my actions, my darkness. Own your darkness. That doesn't mean embody your darkness. It means call it out, transmute it. Stop identifying with it. When you identify with your darkness, you become the darkness. You become the narcissist, or whatever label you want to put on it. I'm not big on labels, but you get my point. Whatever you identify with, you become, you embody, you become paranoid. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's completely a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you think that your partner is disloyal, you're going to push them away. If you think that your partner is going behind your back, you're probably going to go behind your partner's back. You're going to be checking on their phone behind their back. You're going to be basically watching every little thing they do, looking for evidence to prove this victim reality that you've decided to create for yourself. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're too scared to take accountability because you think your partner is going to use it against you. Self-fulfilling prophecy. If you don't take accountability in a relationship, your partner is going to leave you. If you have a partnership with anyone that has any self-worth and you don't take accountability in the relationship is going to fail. So if you're scared to take ownership of your darkness, to take responsibility for your actions and your behavior and your investment in the relationship, guess what? That relationship is going to fail, guaranteed. So take responsibility. Taking responsibility for yourself is power. Okay? That's a truly successful individual takes ownership of their darkness. They don't allow their darkness to take ownership of them, because that's what a victim does. A victim identifies with the darkness. A victim allows the darkness to be the parent to that little victim child. So they become the protector. The darkness becomes the protector of that little fragile little ego child within. There's no child within, okay? The idea of that inner child is an illusion, because if there's an inner child, that means there's a split within your psyche. There's the nice part of you, and then there's the victim part of you. And as soon as the conditional nice version of you isn't getting what he or she wants, then the little victim child comes up and turns into a monster, tries to defend, because to defend itself. There's no child to defend. You're a grown adult. You're in control. You're responsible. There's no inner child. If you believe that there's an inner child, it's because you're holding on to some arbitrary past that you keep identifying with. But you are identifying with a past version of yourself in the now, because the past cannot exist. Only now exists. So, what are you doing? That's what you're creating now. Okay? If you want to be successful, claim success, not victimhood. If you want to experience love, claim love. Be love now. Everything you embody, you receive. Everything you embody, you become. Everything that you believe about yourself, you will eventually embody. So choose wisely what beliefs that you have. Choose wisely the words and the thoughts that you say to yourself. Choose wisely the thoughts that you listen to, that you ruminate on, because they dictate your experience. If you choose to ruminate on thoughts that promote victimhood, then guess what? You're going to be a victim. You're going to embody that. You're not your thoughts. If you identify with those thoughts, you will become them. They're invitations. You don't have to entertain them. You live right here now. You cannot live anywhere else. You cannot exist anywhere but the here now. So, I repeat myself over and over. Choose wisely. Invest wisely in everything that your intention and your attention is on. What is your objective, truly? Be honest with yourself. Are your objectives coming from the position of empowerment or victimhood? You know, with awareness comes power. And with power, there is a necessity for responsibility. Awareness is responsibility, because when you're aware of yourself, you become responsible. You become accountable, because when you're self-aware, you can't identify as a victim. It's not possible, because you know too much. It means you can't blame anyone else for your situation, your life choices, the people that you invited into your life. You can't blame anyone. You can't blame those people for the state of your life, because you invited them in. You allowed them to be there. If they weren't your friends, if they weren't on your side, you could have cut them out. But you chose to allow them to remain. So you know that you are responsible. Yes, you may have been unaware or in denial. You didn't want to admit to yourself that you are the one responsible for your life. And the more chances that you give people that show themselves as not being on your side, they have ulterior motives, or they just they don't want to make the effort to become self-accountable themselves, so they'd manipulate and blame others for their life choices, for their state of being, for their emotional security. So the more aware you become, the more accountable you are. It's just a natural order. You take responsibility for yourself. So you can never look back on your past with resentment. You don't get to do that anymore, because only someone who's unaware, who chooses victimhood, looks back on their past with resentment. Oh, they did this to me. I wasn't given enough love as a child. Your parents, they were imperfect. Even if they were really abusive, they were like that because they were unaware, because they were identifying as victims themselves and they were taking it out on you. When you understand that, then you don't have the right to claim victimhood anymore. You're not a child anymore. So that doesn't exist. It only exists in your imagination, memory of the past. But you choose who you are now. If you keep choosing the past, you're holding on to resentment. Past doesn't exist, remember? You're holding on to resentment. That means you are resentment, which means you are a victim, which means you are unaware. But if you are aware, then you have no right to choose victimhood. You cannot. It's not possible. It's a fallacy. You're not a victim. You can't choose to be a victim. You can't perpetually blame other people, whether in the now, the past, or the future. You can't blame them for your state of being. You don't get the right to do that when you know who you are. Nor do you desire to do that, because that's disempowerment. You are in control of your reality, no one else. So take back control of your reality. You are in control. You have the power. With that power comes responsibility. Take responsibility. Take self-accountability for you, for yourself, for your thoughts, your words, your actions, your behaviors. You are accountable for that, no one else. You don't get to blame other people for making you mad, for making you have outbursts. If you are doing that, it's because you're identifying as a victim. Stop giving yourself the right to identify as a victim. Take your power back. Invest your energy in creating the life that you want now. Forget the past. Stop thinking about the future, because everything is now. So choose who you want to be now. Remember, you are responsible.